Jordan kind of didn't have any choice second half of 2021 when he first kind of solidified that starting role. His starting top three receivers were like 6'1", 6'1", and I believe 5'8", something like that. And here you are a couple of years later, and he's got 6'7", 6'4", 6'3", all conference guys, all guys who are close to 1,000-year seasons. His slot guy, Winston Wright Jr., I believe, had close to 800 yards at West Virginia the last year he played. He's got Trey Benson coming back. James mentioned it. Keziah Holmes, a dude who was kind of like a phenom at Penn State a couple years ago, was I believe a 5-star just beast coming out of high school. He's got the keys to a Ferrari. It's kind of like you have to go back to 2012, 2013 when you had these weapons kind of like set at every position. You had the tight end, you had the super tall wide receiver, you had the steady-handed Rashad Green, you had Devontae Freeman, while also having James Wilder Jr. to smash it up the middle. We kind of have that everywhere. We even have a fullback and our linebacker that they bring over for goal line sets. So I couldn't be more excited. And personally, I feel like, there's kind of this graph when you look at it, our offenses and defenses that went from like 100 something to like 60 and 50 to last year finally being down to 15th defense, 10th offense. And most people look at it and they say, okay, this is where they're going to plateau. But I just firmly believe we're going to see another level at that line of scrimmage on both sides, and especially the wide receivers and running backs and tight ends, especially going to that next level. You're replacing walk-ons with guys like Kyle Morlock and Jaheim Bell. So how excited are y'all for that LSU game? And do you think that what do you think about that matchup, I guess, would be the best question, the FSU offense versus the LSU defense? And I'll take you off mute, James. Sorry, we had a little echo going on. I cut you off there for a second.
Oh, no, it's all good. I think the biggest thing is going to be, again, what will Brian Kelly's defense and those guys' defense do when we put out the matchups? And like you have a really, really good linebacker there with LSU. He'll be a sophomore. But is he going to spy Jordan Travis, or is he going to be the guy that's going to be in charge of Jaheim Bell? With DBs, you lost one of you hit the transfer portal heavy for DB, and you lost your best guy. Who's going to handle? What are you going to do with Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson? Are you going to bracket coverage one of the best wide receivers in the nation, or are you going to let your guys try to go mano-a-mano and play cat ball? And if you're playing cat coverage, now you have the ultimate breaker of cat coverage, and that's Jordan Travis. You cannot defend a heavy run game. So either you're going to put 7 in the box or 6 in the box. The 6 in the box is equal. So you're either going to trust your D-line is that great, or your front seven is that great, or and go 6 in the box, or you're going to go or you're going to go go 7 in the box, or you're going to go 6 in the box, and you're going to have one-on-one coverage with those guys. So I think you have to it's going to be interesting, especially with the secondary being the weakest part of their defense. And I like to see Mike Norvell challenging them early, and we'll know what this game is going to be like after the first quarter. I think it's going to be a good game that will go down to about the fourth quarter before somebody breaks away. But I think it will be a really good heavyweight boxing match where somebody's going to get knocked out. And it's not that bold. It's kind of like if you've watched the Spence fight, the other Spence Crawford fight. Crawford's the only person who could do that to Spence. And he beat him pretty good. It wasn't that Spence isn't good. It's just that Crawford had an answer for everything that he did that night. And I think that's what you're going to see. Eventually, somebody really, really talented is going to get knocked out, but you're going to go see them knock out a lot of other really talented people for the rest of the year.
No doubt. Kind of like last year.
All three be enjoying these after the game.
Let's go. He's got them lined up.
I've got more, but I don't even know if they're any good. I was asking James because someone donated all these to me.
What are we working with there, James? What kind of cigars?
Oh, those are Quorum cigars. That's the house cigar for ABC. Those are very good.
Okay.
Those are very good cigar. That's a very good, a $5, a very reasonable smoke. I joke with people. I get cigars for free. I get paid to shoot guns, drink alcohol, and smoke cigars. If you try to smoke a $10 to $20 cigar, even if just once a day, that's a lot of money. Like, I wouldn't do it. But what you do is you find one that you like and you enjoy it. That's a weekend smoke. But that Quorum cigar is a good cigar that you just, you know what? I just need a stick today. You pick it up. It's rolled by one of the top rollers. It's a really good, it's good. That's a good smoke. That's a really. I have some of those in my humidor, and that's a good smoke.
Yeah, hopefully Mr. EJ Green is there, man. I can smoke one with him for a little bit. I got to talk to him about 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the last tailgate.
So
What a great
cool,
guy,
right?
man. Probably the
So
coolest
cool.
guy I've ever met. I didn't even realize who I was talking to for the first 10 minutes. So he was like, my name's EG, by the way. And I was like, Green? Okay.
He told me,
Holy crap.
I didn't, Peter Ward said, that's the best, at Bobby Bowden's funeral, he said, that's the best wide receiver to have ever played at Florida State. And I heard him say that. I didn't meet him at Bobby's funeral. I met him at the spring game, and he was I got to text him. He ran up on me to talk. This is what I'm telling you. This is when it comes to this, Chris can tell, I'm a fan too. I was a fan before I was a player. I have no idea why these people talk to me. I have no idea why I can pick up the phone and call Peter Ward and he's going to answer. I have when E.G. Green was just sitting there, he was like, hey, man, I want to hang out with you. What are y'all doing tonight? And I'm like, you're E.G. Green. You want to hang out with me? What are we doing here? I don't know how to respond. But, I got to make sure he's coming to the game. I got to make sure we get him at the tailgate. But, so, these guys are dope. I like them.
For sure. We're getting close to an hour. Do y'all, we can do defense and then maybe do some predictions for the people. I know Chris already put his score prediction in the chat if y'all want to check that out. But we talked about the offensive matchup, and then it comes down to that defensive line versus that offensive line. Last year, they were super young. This year they're a year older, and, all the SEC homers are telling us that, it's going to be a whole different deal. These offensive linemen, they're all a year older. These are all SEC guys by the end of the year, SEC West champs. As if Jared Verse didn't get any better, as if Ayo Tapasi, wasn't even here last year, et cetera, et cetera. Chris, you want to start us off? Do you have anything you want to mention about that matchup?
I think your defensive star of the game is Kalen DeLoach. And the reason that I think that is because I think he's going to keep Daniels in check. I think he's going to stop a lot of big run plays when it comes to Daniels. But I think defense in totality, a big question mark, for LSU, they have a decent wide receiver room. It's not great. It's not excellent. It is good, though. It's I just think that our DBs with adding a Fentrell Cypress, seeing what Shaheem Brown is doing at safety, seeing what Gant's capable of doing at safety, Jarian Jones during the mid-season of last year going into the end became really good. There's just too many to name that I think they're going to have to run the ball on us, and I don't think they're going to be extremely successful at it. There's going to be a lot of short throws. They're going to take their chances down the field, but I think that's when you've got the AZs and the couple of guys with interceptions that are going to happen, because I think with adding Pat Surtain, he's really put an emphasis on getting turnovers for this defense, especially for the DB room. He's showing them how to jump routes. He's showing them a lot of different things as far as hip movement goes. I like their hip shadowing drill that they do with the wide receivers. I'm extremely a fan of that, because if you read the hips of the wide receiver, it's like watching a magnet. A shadow. You're technically always with the wide receiver at that point. And I'm not taking anything from Woodson. I'd never seen that drill at Florida State before Pat Surtain was here. I never seen the shadow drill before. I think it's helped our DBs out in the corners. Safeties have just really, really grown really close to covering one-on-one man-to-man. And I think we lacked a little bit in that last year. We weren't the greatest man-to-man coverage in that room. And now I would say that Florida State looks the part. of being a top-notch room back there. So I'm extremely excited. I don't want to sit here and say that Florida State in any way is going to shut LSU down from scoring in all totality. But it also wouldn't surprise me if we keep them to a low-scoring event, because I'm extremely excited for this defense. I talked about it last year, talked about it going into the offseason, that visually to fans, the biggest jump of production that you're going to see is on the defensive side of the ball. I think that there's going to be more visual evidence that this defense has stepped up in multiple ways. As far as defensive line goes, if Fabian Lovett, Fisk, Farmer, you just keep going down the line. If all of these guys are in good shape up the middle, and then you've got Pat Payton on one side and you've got Jared Verse on the other side, I'm sorry for whoever plays Florida State, and that includes LSU. Whatever they get, they're going to earn it. Ain't nothing going to be given to them. So I think that they got guys that better make some really good plays, because our defensive line is going to be headhunting in that game, and I'm very confident in their ability, and I think they're going to do a really good job.
Yeah, to me, Jaden Daniels has got to be able to hit the deep ball consistently if they're going to be able to outscore us. And I just don't see it happening with who we bring back. I love that breakdown. What do you think, James, before we do our picks? You got anything you want to talk about with their offense? Is there anything you're worried about, any particular matchups you see that could possibly benefit them, or vice versa?
No, I actually think they were better last year offensively with Booty, or however you say his name, and other things that we got to remember. Our guys there shut them down. A lot of people look at the score and say it was a close game, but it was not a close game. It was literally dominated by Florida State until the last 5 minutes, where we went into a situation where we played prevent. And now prevent, there's a saying in football, prevent only prevents you from winning games. Now, had we scored when Toafili fumbled the ball, game's over. Game, set, match, up 3 scores. They're going to do what they naturally do. They fold. I talked about it in my last spot covering FSU, but they didn't. And I think the defense that we played allowed for them to pick up big chunks of yardage, because we were afraid of getting beat deep. And then we got the ball back on offense, and I believe we went 3 and out. So we put ourselves in some really bad situations. Or if we didn't go 3 and out, we went out really, really quick. Now, I think with the offensive line being a little bit more improved, having a little bit more weapons, we're going to not only score, our offense will dictate what our defense does. We have the ability to score quick, but we also have the ability to use TOP to our advantage, which is time of possession. Run the ball, take your ball, and go home. So I think we'll see is Mike Norvell try to get to that point where we have control of the game, but not get conservative so early and go ahead and go for the jugular. The one thing that's happening, and if anybody listened, I told Derek McClendon this time last year when they were in Jacksonville. I said, you guys have to learn how to step on the neck of your opponent. You know how to get your opponent on the ground, but you don't snap the neck. You have to snap the neck of the opponent, meaning you have to literally take it out of them. You can't just hope or wait it out. But I think the defense is fine. I actually think the defense is not talked about as much because we have this narrative in our head of what the defense actually was. But I believe our defense was one of the strongest pieces of our team last year, in particular, the adjustments that they made in the second half. I think our offense let our defense down 3 games in particular. And if we're firing all cylinders, I think Florida State would be a special team. And I think a lot of people will owe Adam Fuller a huge apology, but knowing the way people are going to do it, they're going to just give all praise to Pat Surtain.
Well, hey, Pat Surtain's the man. You know, he's our Alex Atkins on the defense. It's kind of what we've kind of pinned it. We'll see. It's just year 1, but that's another big part of our defense that I'm hoping improves is that zone look from the DBs. You know, it's been a kind of point of contention, but we're already over an hour long. I don't want to keep you guys on here too long. I guess I'll start it off. I'm thinking the more closer we get, I'm thinking somewhere. I think both of the teams are going to score, but I'm somewhere in that 38-27 range. Maybe 38-24 is what I really want to say, but I don't want to go out on that big line. I'm going to call it 38-31 Noles. LSU scores a garbage time touchdown right at the last minute. But 38-31 Florida State. What do you got, Chris?
I put it in the comments earlier, 38-27.
38-27.
I think it'll be. I think we're looking at 34 to 21.
34-21. We're all pretty close in there. We all think it's, I guess, between their 7 and an 11-point game. Can't wait, guys. I can't wait to see you guys in Orlando. Appreciate everybody coming to watch the live stream. It's kind of packed right now. Thank you guys for all joining. Make sure y'all go check out @Spear Addicts on YouTube. Follow Chris's YouTube channel @Den Media Group. Big Game James _36 on Twitter. It's @Spear Addicts on Twitter as well. You can find me @Renegade Report 1 on Twitter. Just the Renegade Report at YouTube. And you can check out my regular site as well, Renegade Report @Substack.com. Go subscribe there. We're about 2/3 of the way to partner status on YouTube. So if you're in here watching, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for joining. We got another big show next week. We're going to have me and Chris and James, good buddies, Seymour on here next week, and also Sam from the Listen Up podcast. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank y'all for joining us. You guys got anything? Thank y'all for coming, buddy.
Go Noles.
Go Noles, baby.